Can you learn something without knowing that you're learning it? For me, the answer to this question lies in the connection between Parashat Vayikra and the Karate Kid. Now, I'm not talking about the Karate Kid, which is now a show on Netflix 30 years after the original movie. I'm talking about the Karate Kid Shalpam, 1984 classic movie where Danny LaRusso learns karate in order to beat up some bullies. And specifically, I'm thinking of what I consider to be one of the most wonderful cinematic scenes in history, where young Danny LaRusso is trying to learn karate from Mr. Miyagi, his sensei, and he's supposed to be learning it, but for days he's been coming to study, and all Mr. Miyagi has him do is wash some cars and paint his fence. And after a few days of this, Danny gets fed up, he's frustrated, he starts yelling at Mr. Miyagi, and he tells him he quits. And then Mr. Miyagi takes a swing at Danny. And as he tries to strike him, Danny all of a sudden blocks the strike. Mr. Miyagi takes another shot. Danny blocks it again. Mr. Miyagi kicks him. Danny blocks it again. And before you know it, they're having a sparring match, and Danny doesn't even know what's going on, but he's blocking everything Mr. Miyagi is doing. And finally, Mr. Miyagi stops and he smiles at Danny. Danny realizes that the entire time that he's been waxing the cars and painting the fence, he's been learning how to block. Ramban writes in his commentary that it's very hard to understand what the korbanot are all about. But one way of understanding it, one petach, one opening, is to say that as the person bringing the korban is putting his hand on the animal, as he's doing his vidui for sinning, what the person is supposed to be thinking about is, you know what? I'm supposed to be in place of this animal. It's supposed to be me. And all the details surrounding the bringing of the korbanot, they serve to center the person, to symbolically make the person feel as if he is doing tshuva, getting closer to Hashem, that he is sacrificing himself to Hashem, and not so much the animal. The Sefer Chinuch, in many places throughout his book of mitzvot, writes, Acharei pulot nimshachim halavavot. After the actions, follow the emotions and the passions. When the Torah gives us all of these korbanot, and there's so many psukim with so many details, it could be that the idea is that we don't necessarily understand everything. Maybe we never have, and maybe we never will. But we have a faith, and our faith is that the mitzvot contain great wisdom, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not arbitrarily give us commands, and the korbanot themselves, each one of them contains a deep, deep idea that even when we don't know that we're learning it, we still are. And so, wax on, wax off, and paint the fence.